Hi, I'm Andrew with Odd Harmonics, and in this video, I'll show you how to use variables in Nexus. Variables are values that change over time and are a powerful way to make your macros smart. The first thing we'll need to do is go to the Variables tab and make a few new variables. Let's make a variable for how loud we want to play some audio. Click New to make the new variable and give it a name Audio Level. Next, choose what value type this variable will have. In this case, choose the number type because the audio level will be a number. Last, give it a value of -6. Let's also make a variable for whether the building is open or not. Click New. Give it a name, Building is Open, and choose the type Boolean because this variable will only ever be true or false. Last, set its value to false. To set a variable's value, you can manually type it in like we just did, or you can use an action. Let's do that now. Let's make a new macro for opening the building. In reality, this macro could do a ton of different things, but let's keep it simple for now and just set the variable. Repurpose this default action by giving it a new name and setting the command. The category will be variables, and the command is set variable value. For the first parameter, variable name, pick building is open, and for the value, type true. Test this action, and the variable building is open changes to true. Now that we have some variables with values, there are two ways to use them: conditions and expansion. We'll cover conditions first. Conditions allow you to add logic to your macros. They can be applied to the whole macro or to an action within the macro. Let's say we have a speaker check macro that routes pink noise to every speaker, and we don't want it to run while the building is open and full of guests. The first thing we'll do is set the macro's conditions enable mode. Previously, we've been leaving this set to always enabled, but let's look at the other options. Never is pretty obvious. Setting the enable mode to never means that the macro will not run. Choosing either of the remaining options reveals this section below. When any conditions are active means that if any condition listed below is met, the macro will be enabled. When all conditions are active means that the macro will be enabled only if all the conditions listed below are met. For this macro, set it to all conditions. Next, choose the variable building is open. Leave it as equal to, and type in the value false. You'll see that because the current state of this variable is true, the macro is not enabled. Even if we press the test macro button, the macro won't run because the conditions aren't met. If you need to test the macro during programming and want to temporarily bypass its conditions, just use the Test Macro Skip Conditions button here. Conditions for an action work the same way. One of the cool ways to use action conditions is for seasonal music. In this example, one macro called Play Seasonal Music has multiple actions, each of which will play music for a specific time of the year. Of course, it would be ridiculous for all that music to play at once, so we use conditions to enable only one action at a time. If the season variable is Halloween, only the Halloween music action is enabled, and so on. Whenever you need to play music, for example from a trigger, just use this macro, and it will play the correct music for the season. This greatly simplifies your programming. The second way to use variables is expansion. Expansion allows you to reference a variable's value from somewhere else, such as inside an action. Let's say that you need to play an audio file at different levels at different times, but don't want to write a bunch of different macros and then manage all the triggers for them. Instead, let's add the audio level variable to this play audio action. For the gain parameter, we'll replace this fixed value with a reference to the variable. To reference a variable, just type the variable's name inside the less than and greater than symbols. When the macro runs, It will replace that variable name with whatever the variable's value is at that moment. There are also some hidden variables that you can reference at any time without having to create them in the Variables tab. One great example is Nexus log. This is really powerful when used in the message of an email action. When the email is sent, it will automatically include a copy of the entire Nexus log. Alright, that's it for this tutorial. Check out the next video in this series to learn about nesting macros, a powerful but surprisingly easy way to have macros trigger other macros. For more information about Nexus, or to buy a Pro license, go to odd-harmonics.com. And if you have any questions, please email us at support@odd-harmonics.com. Thanks for watching.